fall of President Bashir Omar in Sudan was the beginning of tribulation and instability of what has taken over the entire country of Sudan. Khartoum, in fact, today is almost becoming a ruined place as buildings have been destroyed, infrastructure is no more, and the lives of people are each day suffering and killing is the order of the day. My guest today is a prominent young man who was part of the movement for the change of governance, Mr. Nazar Mohammed, Project Management Advisor, Smart Organization Sudan. Welcome all our viewers from all over the world, from Johannesburg, South Africa, to Rio de Janeiro, Montreal, Canada, Greenland, and New Zealand, and here in Kampala, Uganda, where my name is Chivumbi Annes Benjamin. Mr. Nazar, welcome to talk to HICGI News Agency.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here today.
You have seen that your country is on the global spotlight for the civil war which is happening in your country. Tell us the genesis of this conflict and the fall of President Bashir as part of the suffering right now.
Yes, the tragic war that took place in my country at the fall of April, at the dawn of April 14th, 2023, has taken an immense toll on my country in many aspects. In livelihoods, in the sense livelihoods were ruined, buildings were demolished, people had to flee. Millions of people are now have been forcibly displaced, and the economic situation is worsening every day. So as young people, we felt we had a responsibility to try and at least alleviate some of the backlashes of war, some of the consequences of war. So naturally we had to act and we had to get together so that we can organize something tangible, something that can deliver true meaning and help in a way to end the suffering of the people of Sudan.
What exactly are you doing as young people in trying to end the tribulation of the people?
Well, actually, youth have been engaged in the movements to alleviate the suffering of the people of Sudan on many aspects or on many spheres. Some of them are deploying medical convoys to help the IDPs. Some of them are organizing food banks, or what we call tequila, to distribute daily meals to the needy. And some of them, like me and my organization, we are trying to revolutionize the healthcare delivery using technology means at the wake of the telecommunication infrastructure fall down in my country, so that we can deliver the basic healthcare needs to the patients and to the poor and needy people in my country.
During the civil war, can I say, when they were toppling President Bashir, we're seeing the youth movements, actually a young woman being joined by several youth, other ones who made it possible for the president to go after so many years in power. Not even politicians. Should we say that the young people were at the center of a political change, of which political change has not been achieved yet? What exactly did you want? Did you just want change of power, or you wanted there were other agendas you had?
Okay, The people of Sudan have long strived for peace, have long strived for freedom, have long strived for unity. I think those three pillars were actually the ground stone of what has sparked the fire of the revolution in my country. And add to that also the political situation in my country has been catastrophic, let us put it like that. Political scenario in my country has been catastrophic, and incompetent leaders have been gambling with the fate of our country for decades. So we had to obviously had to do something, and had to make a real change. That's what we aspired for at the time. And I think this came naturally as Sudanese people, everyday people who saw the suffering and who saw the worsening economic situations and saw the inequalities in the society. They had to do something. They had to get together, organize something so that a real change can happen. And a layman or ordinary people naturally joined this movement that led to the end of the previous decade. We were aspiring, of course, for a brighter future for our country. But the thing is, I think it was not, it was mismanaged. This transitional period, maybe it was mismanaged due to several factors. I'm not a politician myself, and I do not wish to be associated with politics, but I'm speaking as a layman, as a normal citizen. We were aspiring for change, real change. We were aspiring for progress in my country, and we were aspiring for to be the leading nation in Africa and in the world, in the whole world. So we had to start within ourselves, and unfortunately, it has led us to what we can see today, what we see today. But despite all that, there remains hope that we will one day emerge as a leading nation, hopefully in this near future.
In your opinion, when you compare the events in Sudan, do you think that even in other African countries where we've had leaders who have been in power for more than 30 years, 40 years, and people are scared of what happened in Sudan, that transition is something not easy. Libya was, I think, more than 40 years. Colonel Omar Gaddafi was in power when he left. Libya is almost no more. It's a failed state right now. Sudan followed the example. We are seeing more examples. Is there need to fear transitions, especially for those leaders who have taken long in power, that they may end up suffering the same way that other countries are suffering?
Okay, as I said before, I'm not a politician and I don't aspire to become one. But I can speak from the perspective of someone who has been engaged in civil society work. I can say that transitional periods are not always a bad thing if managed properly, if people had the same goals, shared goals, and if people also had the same love for the country. I think also when you look at it from another point of view as well, it is youth who are in the center of every movement, whether it be civil, whether it be political, whether it be anything else of significance. Of course, youth have to have a leadership that is powerful, with high moral standards, and with determination and resilience. So in that sense, I would say that if all these qualities were there in the people's minds, and if there was a true will for change, I think as a nation it can cross the bridge towards progress and towards change.
You recently delivered a very colorful speech according to the survey that we had recently at the African Youth Assembly.
Whether at home or in diaspora, let us join and fight for our motherland. One people is our motto in the struggle we are. Together we stand, apart we grow. United States of Africa, Africa is for Africa. Africa must enjoy Africa, whether at home or in diaspora. Let us join and fight for our motherland. Africans must enjoy Africa, whether at home or in diaspora. Let us join and fight for our motherland.
Ini pakai DC, ini sempat.
this was my country before the war. We hope to restore it to its previous glory. Distinguished guests, members of government, representatives of all African countries, young African leaders, African and non-African friends who are here today, the generous people of Uganda, and the organizing committee. From my friends here behind me and I say peace upon you all. I begin with peace because I feel as Sudanese people, we now understand the true meaning of peace. This war has taken an immense toll on my nation, leaving millions to face the unknown and exposing a hideous face of destruction never seen before in my generation. War, my friends, for all intents and purposes, is devastating. At the dawn of April 14, 2023, war broke out in Khartoum, triggered by escalating tensions between the two generals of the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces, which is a militia, which is a paramilitary group that was legalized and granted autonomous status by the previous regime in 2013. Since April 2023, millions of people have been forcibly displaced, and massacres have been claimed no fewer than 150,000 lives, according to conservative estimates. The true number remains undetermined as long as this machine of death continues to function. Entire localities in Khartoum state have been wiped out, rendered uninhabitable. Almost all of Al Jazeera state has been destroyed, leaving its people either dead or on the run. The Darfur region is suffering from severe food shortages, with famine looming on the horizon. Widespread ethnic cleansing, mass graves for the deceased, over 1.5 million people displaced, and an alarming spread of armed groups, status of lawlessness, and child soldiers. All of this has been carried out in the name of restoring democracy, when in fact it was just another power grab. Incompetent leaders have gambled with the fate of our country for years, leading us to what we know today. But I am not here to tell you that story. I am here to tell you a different story. One that is filled with hope, led by resilient youth, with an unwavering commitment to Sudan's future. My dear brothers and sisters, as you can see in the slideshow behind me, images of a tragic, images that tell a tragic tale. A completely devastated Khartoum. Once home to thousands of people. A place I once called home. This is just a snapshot of the many atrocities of war. And yet, the destruction goes far beyond the physical landscape. Khartoum was more than just a city. It was a microcosm of Sudan itself.
a place where diverse communities coexisted, a symbol of our unity. Today, approximately 8.8 million people have been displaced and forced to flee their homes, but chose to remain within Sudan's border. While 3.2 million people have sought refuge in Egypt, in Chad, in South Sudan, Ethiopia, and even Uganda. The economic losses tell a whole different story. By June 2023, the conflict had resulted in $5 billion in economic damage. By the end of 2023, that figure has tripled to reach $15 billion. The exchange rate of the US dollar against the Sudanese pound in the black market rose from 730 Sudanese pound in September 2023 to 1,250 SDG by February 2024. Almost 80% increase in less than 6 months. Today, it is estimated at 2,500 Sudanese pounds and continues to rise daily. The conflict have also devastated livelihoods of millions of people, rendering more than 60% of agricultural land unusable. This deeply saddens me, as I remember learning in elementary school that Sudan had the potential to become the food basket of the world. Yet, despite the darkness, there is hope. Hope in the resilience of our people. Hope in the unwavering spirit of Sudanese youth who refuse to let our nation be defined by war and suffering. Hope that together we can rebuild Sudan into the land of promise and prosperity it once used to be.
What is that special message you're trying to communicate to the youth of Africa?
Okay, the speech I did deliver yesterday, it stemmed from the suffering of Sudanese people, and it also stemmed from the catastrophic consequence of war in my country. And but it also brought up a great result, or it brought up another perspective that hasn't been there before. It showed us how much our African friends have love and affection for us as Sudanese people. So what I'm trying to convey here today is that I would urge all our African friends that please have a look at what is going on in Sudan. Try to spread the message of the war and suffering. Please keep us in your minds and in your hearts as we go, as we experience this tragic incident. And I also would like to say that despite the war in my country, there have been a lot of momentum, positive momentum for change and for trying to ease the consequences of war in my country. So I also urge you to lend a helping hand to our people in Sudan, so that we can try and put a stop to this crisis.
What is that assistance that the world should be coming with to Sudan?
Okay, well, obviously there is not enough media coverage
Oh,
Yes, and I can attribute that to several factors. Maybe the war in Ukraine and the war in Gaza, and also the geopolitics in the whole African and Middle Eastern region. Have tried to maybe influence the media coverage, intentionally or otherwise. So I would urge the people in Africa and elsewhere to try and talk more about what is going on in Sudan, so that when we build up momentum in the media, then a real attention can be put towards the suffering of the Sudanese people, and the plight of the Sudanese people can be well communicated in the hearts and minds of our African friends and people from all over the nations.
the United States has been trying to look at sanctions as one of the interventions when it comes to stopping wars, and the UN Security Council sometimes, like the case was in Libya, voted for a no-fly zone. They have also been controlling of arms entering, and maybe talks or negotiations between rival forces. Do you think the Trump administration can be in position to effect some of these measures as part of ending the suffering in Sudan?
Once again, I am not well acquainted with the policies of the American administration, but I feel like USA has a very powerful influence over the region in Middle East and over neighboring countries as well, so that maybe they can try and use some of that influence to try and stop the war or put an end to it completely. But I would say that more important is that aid packages should be delivered to the people of Sudan, notably the civil society organizations, so that they can find a better allocation and a real allocation to it. Also, I would say that European Union also have a very big opportunity to try and help the people of Sudan in their suffering through the work of the European Union in diplomacy and in aid, facilitation of aid, and also the UN agencies. To UN agencies, they can also be some of the change can happen.
Russia and China have also had interest in Sudan for strategic reasons. What can be the exact support or intervention that Russia can do with China?
As you see, all these countries, they have their interests in Sudan, because for a very long time, Sudan has been rich with natural resources, has been rich with mineral resources.
Like which ones?
Like gold,
Oh,
for example, like Arabic gum, which is used in pharmaceuticals. It's used in soda like Pepsi and Coke. These resources are huge economic boosters for my country, and so that it naturally that other nations would want to come and maybe take some of these resources for themselves. But I would say that there is a huge opportunity for collaboration and for trade between Sudan and China, between Sudan and Russia. So it's very imperative that this war can stop so that we can try and resume the oil production, gold production, mineral resources production, so that we can benefit economically with these big countries. So that I would urge these countries and these administrations that use your influence to try and stop the war, so that no further bloodshed can happen, so that economy can be back on track, so that our mutual nations can benefit.
South Sudan is the world's youngest nation, if I'm not mistaken, and it was part of Sudan. And what is your perspective or feelings when South Sudan seceded away?
Okay, for many reasons, South Sudan opted for independence. But as a common person, I don't see that we are separate. I see that. Yes, I see that, and this is a feeling. This is not just my feeling. This is a feeling of many Sudanese people and South Sudanese people alike. We are still one nation, in our heart, and in our mind also we are still one. And because we speak one language, and we have the same culture, I hope that one day we can be united again, so that Sudan can return to its natural position as a leading power in Africa.
It's just a very important idea that we just discovered today, that the people of the two countries want to be together, something that had not been shared earlier. And on that very point, the element of religion, does it have any significance as part of the issues that were raised for the secession of the countries?
You are taking me back a long time. I think I was in high school when the independence of South Sudan took place. I'm not very astute at that time about, or not very apprised at that time with the actual reasons that led to the independence of South Sudan or the separation of South Sudan. But I would say that through time we have learned to coexist.
Yes.
Despite all the cultural differences, religious differences, we have learned to coexist as one nation. And even up to now, even today, that the separation of the two nations happened, we still have a lot of bondages together through marriage, through culture, through language. So I would say that this is enough ground for us to be united again. Enough grounds for us to work together as a one nation. It's also enough ground for us to try and build a better future for our next generation.
Given the opportunity, I understand you said you're not a politician or even interested, but given the opportunity to lead your country, what would you do for Sudan?
Right now, I would try to put a stop to the war, catastrophic. I'll try to learn from war. Because war have taught us great lessons. Building on those lessons, I will try to urge my people of Sudan to avoid the causes of war in the future. I think this should be the ground for everything, the pillar for everything that our people should be concentrating on right now. After the war has ended, then we can look up to the future. And of course, during this process, we will never forget those who stood by us during these dark times. And we will appreciate all of those who gave us or lent us a hand during this conflict. We also urge our international friends that stop meddling in the Sudan affairs. Leave the Sudan affairs to the Sudanese people. I know you have interest in the region, but it cannot be at the expense of Sudanese lives. Stop meddling within our affairs. If you are trying to help us with a genuine heart, not for an agenda.
When you talk about meddling in Sudan affairs, do you think there was a hand into the ousting of the president as much as the youth were involved? Just like the Arab Spring War, there were international influences inside those revolutions.
I mean, I would say there will be always an influence from the international community, for better or worse. But the message I'm trying to convey here is that we are all human beings, and we work towards achieving a common goal for all humanity, to coexist together, to help each other prosper and develop our nations. Why should it be at the expense of another nation? Our balloon, why you inflate your balloon when you focus on your own balloon instead of trying to deflate other people's balloons? Focus on inflating your own balloon, because your balloon represents your future, represents your progress, represents your prosperity. So try to inflate your balloon while not focusing on deflating other people's balloons, because in doing so, you will not only ensure that you have ruined your future, but you have also ruined other people's future. Instead, try to focus on what brings us together as humanity. Try to look for ways or routes for us to prosper together and to develop it.
When the war ends, what is that first priority issue that you would want to see be handled?
In my country, the war has to stop first. Progress and development in infrastructure has to begin immediately. Those schools that were demolished has to be rebuilt. Those hospitals that were demolished has to be rebuilt. Those universities that were ransacked, all the valuable research, all the valuable books, curriculums that has been burned, it has to be rebuilt again. And we can achieve that from the help of our African friends. We can achieve that from the help of international community and international organizations. And also we can look forward to making a strategic partnerships with one goal: to rebuild Sudan so that Sudan can help rebuild other nations through sharing its lesson learned from the war in the future.
As we wind up, you told me Starlinks and Musk has been provided internet in your country. How, on what grounds is Starlink involved?
Starlink technology has proven instrumental in post-Sudan war. In the beginning, our infrastructure, telecommunication infrastructure, was struggling to begin with. It was lacking high-speed internet, coverage in rural areas was not that much strong to begin with before the war. But after the war, this situation worsened to a great degree. And it's no secret to you nowadays that we rely on internet for our most basic services. Unfortunately, Starlink technology is not yet official in Sudan. It can work, but not officially launched. So from this interview, I would urge the people working at the Starlink company to come and make it official in my country so that we can benefit from this technology in helping people. I can speak for myself and the organization I'm working with. We use Starlink technology to deliver basic health consultations through our proprietary technology, linking the patient and the senior healthcare provider through online consultation. And this has proven instrumental in these times because healthcare system in Sudan has been greatly disrupted and facilities in my country has also been demolished. So we try to look at innovative solutions to help our people. Now through our DCU technology, we can, using phones, using tablets, we can link the patient anywhere in Sudan to a doctor, an experienced doctor, anywhere in the world through the online consultation service that we provide. And it's free of charge.
Oh,
yes.
who's funding you?
Currently, we are looking to be funded by international organizations and philanthropists, Sudanese philanthropists, people who are working abroad, expats, and also people with good hearts from the international community. We are trying to seek funds from them. But I would stress that this is a grassroots effort, without any government intervention and without any dictations or influences from any other party and without any. We just want to help our people in Sudan the way we see it. So I would, in conclusion to what I have said before, I would urge the Starlink administration to try and make this service official in my country, so that not just us as an organization, other people also can benefit from this service to try and make things better for the people of Sudan.
Talking about philanthropists as we wind up, where is Mo Ibrahim's been known to promote democracy and good governance? Where is he?
Funny thing is, Mo Ibrahim is a Sudanese people. He's a Sudanese British citizen. Yes, and he has been engaged in good governance in Africa through his foundation, Mo Ibrahim Foundation. But I don't know. I keep asking myself the same question: why hasn't he been involved in the current struggle in Sudan? And, if he is in fact involved, why don't we see his organization helping people out? I think this question should be left for Mo Ibrahim to answer.
Mr. Mo Ibrahim, you've been giving money to heads of state, retiring, and lots of monies all over Africa with your prize. The people of Sudan still need your support at this time. They want to know your position. Is there anything else that you want to say as we wind up tonight?
Thank you very much for interviewing me. And I hope through this interview to send a clear message to the people of Sudan and African nation. That we are one in heart and in our minds. And whatever effort that you provide to the people of Sudan will be helped greatly and will be very helpful. And to the people of Sudan, I say, be resilient, strive for a better future, and avoid causes of war in the future. This war must surely come to an end one day. But when it does, make sure it never happens again. Thank you.
Mr. Nazar Mohammed, it's been a pleasure speaking
Thank
to talk. Hicgi.
Thank you so much.
My name is Shifumi. Anas Benjamin on the camera is Anastasis. Good Sekandi. Until next.